people are confused about what's going on, the fragmentation of the media, the fact that it used to be very simple. There were a number of defined media that you could use, and a lot of this goes back to what David Ogilvy wrote 50 or so years, 60 years ago. He talked about it in the context of direct mail then, but he talked about personalized communication and how we were moving from mass communication to individualized communication, and I think all we're seeing now is further fragmentation of it. When I say clients are confused, they walk along the Croisette, they get bombarded by all these different, mainly technology companies and new technology companies, and they're confused as to where and how they should allocate their budget. So that's, and then aligned with that, there's the question about what is the creative message, or how should the message be adapted for those particular media. So that's one area. A second area would be, there's a great focus on cost. Post Lehman crisis, post insurance monoline and the subprime crisis, and actually even since the 1990s, there's this been focus on an inability to get pricing power with the consumer because inflation has been in check for the last 20-25 years. The growth of retail, although that's being increasingly undermined by online. So what a Walmart and a Tesco and a Carrefour does, the pressure on commodity prices, which has made margins come under pressure. And then you have these events like Lehman, which make people even more conscious of cost, and therefore the rise of finance and procurement in comparison with marketing. So that's a second area. And a third area is the geographical challenge, which is, and you see it here at Cannes, if I look at the performance of our agencies this year as opposed to last year, they did very well last year, but Brazil or South America has done fantastically well in the first couple of days, and it's showing the rising powers in the world. It's not just economically, politically and socially. The G8 might meet in Ireland, in Northern Ireland, but the new G8 is going to be very different to the old G8, and the new G8 is going to draw its strength from the BRICS countries and the next 11 countries rather than Western Europe, and to a lesser extent the United States, because you never underestimate the United States. But so I think those three areas, there's one of sort of technological confusion, cost, and then last but not least, this question of geography and how that moves. There are sort of 9 or 10 areas that drive, it's obviously globalization, it's the shortage of human capital, it's the overcapacity, the power of retailing, internal communication, power of government, corporate social responsibility. All these things are driving the rise of procurement, are making more important what we do, and therefore differentiation. And we're a $1 trillion industry. I mean, not all of it is represented here in Cannes. There's probably, the market research, what we used to call market research or consumer insight, we now call in data and investment management, is steadfastly excluded from the award ceremonies at Cannes. Terry, please note. But that, putting that to one side, this is an industry which is a powerful industry and a growing industry. Interesting thing is, in the 28 years of WPP's existence, we've only had 3 times when the industry has actually declined. That was the early 90s, the early part of the millennium, 2001, 2, and the internet bust, and then 2009. Otherwise, in nominal terms, we've seen an increase in the industry each year. So it's a growth industry, and we shouldn't be ashamed of that, but it is cyclical, which we have to take into account. So I'm very bullish on the industry, but we have a number of challenges, and confusion's one about new media, cost is another. We've got the balance wrong between growing revenues and containing costs. The latest debate, if that's the right word for it, about payment terms. The thought that you would choose an advertising agency on the basis of payment terms, it would be anathema to most, if not all, people. And it's just intellectually and from a cost of capital point of view, a financial point of view, the wrong thing to do. You don't determine the quality of ideas by whether you pay 90 days or 120 days as opposed to 30 days.